Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur, while living at Sri Radha Kund, became so dear to all the Vaisnavas that Srimati Krishna Priya Thakurani, with great love and attention, presented the Govardhan Shila of Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur to worship. So he placed the Govardhan Shila beside Sri Radha Gokulananda and worshipped them with great love together. Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur, while living in Vrindavan, along with Srila Baladeva Vidyabhusana, they became such prolific writers. He went deeper and deeper and deeper into elaborate commentaries on the works of the six Goswamis. And his commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is called a Sharartha Darshani, is one of the most illustrious and most important of all commentaries. Srila Prabhupada profusely quotes Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur's commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. And he also wrote commentary on Bhagavad Gita called Sharartha Darshani. And in that Bhagavad Gita, of course, Srila Prabhupada's commentary of Bhagavad Gita is primarily based on the commentaries of Baladeva and Vishwanath. And Srila Prabhupada explains how, when he was at one of the most critical junctions of his life, of leaving behind everything of this world and dedicating his full life to the service of his Guru by spreading Lord Chaitanya's teachings in English all over the world, the point in the junction of his life that actually just got him to just give up everything for that purpose was when he was reading the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur's Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada told us this story many times. He read the verse, Vyavashayatmaka budhir ekeha kurunandana bahushaka hyanantascha budhayo vyavashayana. The one who is on this path is resolute in purpose. They are determined. Their aim is one. Those who are not on this path, their intelligence is many-branched. And Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur comments in this regard, one must make the order of one's spiritual master one's life and soul. And when Srila Prabhupada read that, falling at the feet in an ultimate ocean of humility at the lotus feet of Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur for this inspiration, he left everything behind and gave his whole life to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. It is by the inspiration of Srila Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur that we are all here today. Because by that inspiration, Srila Prabhupada has given the supreme sacrifice of his life to help us all become Krishna conscious and happily chant the holy name. Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur wrote over 40 books, and he also composed beautiful, beautiful songs and poetry, and bhajans, kiratans. Not only was he writing these sweet commentaries and translations, but also he was very boldly fighting against all resistance and deviations. He and Baladeva Vidyabhusana were ferocious to those who were deviants. And yet they were the reservoir of the sweetest nectar to those who were good Vaisnavas. One of his greatest attacks was to the philosophy of Rupa Kaviraj, because he had spread this sahajiya poison all around. And Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur, he preached like a lion against it. Even in his commentaries of Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, he defeats it. So he was a great warrior for Krishna. And when he was about 68 years old, he had just finished his Srimad Bhagavatam commentary. At that time, there was a very serious attack to the whole Gaudiya Vaishnavism. It took place in Jaipur. What happened is, the Goswamis' deities were sent to Jaipur, and Srila Rupa Goswami's deity of Radha Govinda became the personal deity of the king, Jai Singh. And he accepted the teachings of Rupa Goswami. And later on, as we know, the deity of Srimati Radharani was also placed near Radha Govindaji. So they were worshipping Radha Govinda together, and there was a deity of Narayan, and they would worship Narayan after Radha and Krishna, because Radha Krishna is the source of Narayan. At that time, in a place called Galta, not far from Jaipur, there was a gathering of Vaisnavas from the Ramanandi Sampradaya, a branch of the Sri Sampradaya. And they were very, very much disturbed because all the main temples in Jaipur were Gaudiya Vaishnav temples. Radha Gopinath, Radha Vinod, Radha Damodar, Radha Govinda. The king was a Gaudiya Vaishnav. So they wanted to take over all those temples. So what they did is they started propaganda against the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. The first propaganda was that the king was committing offense due to the influence of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, because Narayan is the supreme and he's worshipping Krishna before Narayan. This is a great offense. It must be stopped. And in order for it to stop, we have to kick out all these Gaudiya Vaishnavas. They are ruining the Siddhanta of the Vedas. And the second thing is they were worshipping a deity next of Radharani. They said, this is not bona fide. Where do we find? Vishnu Purana doesn't even say the name of Radharani. And they started quoting all these scriptures, how Radharani's name is not anywhere. So this was a great attack. And the devotees of Jaipur, the Goswamis, approached Viswanath Chakravorthy Thakur, that this is Rupa Goswami's deity. And the king was so afraid that he actually removed Srimati Radharani and put her in a different room and secretly worshipped her separately. So the devotees in Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami's Govinda is separated from Radharani, and they want to take the worship away from us? We have to do something. So ultimately the king, he agreed to the Ramanandis that if someone from Gaudiya Sampradaya can philosophically win a debate and establish the truths and the bona fideness of what they were doing, then they could keep the worship. So they said, all right. At the time, Viswanath Chakravorthy Thakur was very old, and his health was not very good. And the long, arduous travel to Jaipur was very difficult. So he called upon his very intimate, loving associate and disciple, Srila Baladeva Vidyabhusana. He was Vishwanath's Shiksha disciple. And he told him, you please go to Galta and you solve this problem. So Baladeva Vidyabhusana went. First he met the king, and the king said, I don't know what to do. You have to save us. The whole prestige of our sampradaya is finished unless you do something. So he went and he began to debate all these points, and he completely defeated them on all points. But then they said that we cannot accept your sampradaya as bona fide unless your sampradaya has a commentary of Vedanta Sutra. So he started quoting Madhvacharya's commentary of Vedanta Sutra, because he was initiated in the Madhva Sampradaya from the Tattvavadis. And when he explained Madhvacharya's conclusions, the Ramanandis understood that they could not defeat him. So they said, but Madhvacharya accepts Narayan as supreme. Where in his commentary does it talk about worshipping a deity of Radharani? So your Gaudiya Sampradaya is a branch of Madhva, and it cannot be accepted, it must be rejected unless you have a proper commentary of Vedanta Sutra. And we will not hear another word from you until you give us this commentary. He said that the Goswamis understood that Srimad Bhagavatam is Vedavyasa's commentary of Vedanta Sutra. And therefore Jiva Goswami wrote his Satsandarbhas, which are just explanations of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So there's no need for anything else. But they explained to him that you are rejected, and all you Gaudiya Vaishnavas have to leave, and you have to give us your deities, and you have to do everything our way unless you give us a proper commentary, direct, Brahma Sutra. So he was very disappointed. And he went back to his room and he began to pray to Radha Govinda to save the dignity of the whole sampradaya that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended to this world to give to everyone. Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaudatveshe Namaha. He's the most munificent, the most merciful of all incarnations. He's come to give what no other avatar has ever given. Pure, unalloyed love of the residents of Vrindavan to everyone and anyone freely who simply accept his mercy and loudly chant the holy name. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki. And now, the whole sampradaya of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was about to attain extinction, where all its validity, all its credibility was about to be taken away. If this happens, what will happen to the people of Kali Yuga? The Yuga avatar and all of his teachings and all of his followers will be disregarded. You can understand, this was one of the most major crises as far as the salvation of mankind in history of the universe. So he prayed to Radha Govinda. And that night, Govindaji appeared to him in a dream. And he said, you just write, and I will speak my commentary of Vedanta Sutra. Baladeva Vidyabhusana got up from his sleep and he went to Radha Govinda's temple. And in front of the deity of Sri Radha Govinda Dev, he began to write. And Govinda Dev from within and without inspired him and gave him all the words. And this beautiful commentary of Vedanta Sutra he named Sri Govinda Bhashya, that which has been inspired and spoken by Govinda himself. And he went and he presented that commentary to the Ramanandis, and when they read it, they all fell at his feet and begged, initiate us. We will be your disciples. He said, no need for initiation. You are already initiated. Just chant the holy names. And when Baladeva Vidyabhusana returned to Vrindavan with this news of victory for the Sampradaya, Srila Viswanath Chakravorthy Thakur, his Shiksha Guru, was overwhelmed with ecstatic joy and love. And he just profusely congratulated with great gratitude Srila Baladeva Vidyabhusana. And of course, Baladeva Vidyabhusana gave all credit to Srila Viswanath Chakravorthy Thakur, because it was simply in attempting to carry out his order that this empowerment of Sri Radha Govinda came upon him. Srila Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur, shortly after this, became completely immersed in just hearing and chanting the glories of the Leela of Radha and Krishna, Gauranga Mahaprabhu. On the banks of Sri Radha Kund, he began composing beautiful, beautiful songs, one song after another, immersed in kirtan at all times. And while chanting the beautiful kirtan of the holy names and glories of the Lord, absorbed in the ecstatic love of the Leela of Radha and Krishna, on the very, very auspicious and sacred day of Sri Vasant Panchami, Srila Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur entered into Mahasamadhi, and his soul was transported again to the eternal Leela of Radha Krishna in the spiritual world of Goloka Vrindavan. On the most auspicious day, in the most auspicious place of Radha Kund, while chanting the most auspicious names of Radha and Krishna, Srila Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur departed from our earthly vision. And the Vaisnavas placed his samadhi at Sri Radha Gokulananda Temple in Vrindavan, just beside Ganga Narayan Chakravarti, Narottam Das Thakur, and Lokanath Goswami's samadhis. So on this day, even many hundreds of years later, devotees go to this holy place to offer their homage and worship Srila Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur. In fact, the presence of his divine mercy is so much existing in our everyday life. When we read Srila Prabhupada's books, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, we are so much getting the nectar of the love of Srila Vishwanath Chakravorthy Thakur fed to us perfectly through the loving hands of Srila Prabhupada. And every morning, the first thing we do, it is said something that is auspicious should be done first thing. The acharyas in our line have taught us that the first thing we should do when we come up in the morning is to come to attend Mangalarti. And the first song we sing is the beautiful poem, Gurvastakam, written by Srila Viswanath Chakravorthy Thakur. In this song, the most powerful, instructive, and beautiful glorification of the spiritual master has been revealed.
You were listening to Radhanath Swami on thesacredconnect.com.